What do I mean by that? I have to begin by referring to the Quran, not just because I'm Muslim, not just because we still have the Quran in the original format, but because it lays it out real clear, and then I'll be happy to refer to the Bible as well. First of all, Allah said in the Quran, very clear, "Inna dina indallahi al-Islam." Most of the time they translate this, I'm sorry to say incorrectly into English, by saying the only religion for God is Islam. This has a double problem. First of all, it's a poor choice of translation for the word deen. The second problem is they didn't translate the other word. If you're going to translate one, translate both. They didn't translate Islam. Most non-Muslims do not know that Islam has a meaning. And in fact, most of the Muslims are not real sure how to translate the word Islam, and they say it means peace. Usually I let the audience tell me what they think Islam means, but I don't want to embarrass you guys in front of our guests, so I'm just going to tell you it doesn't just mean peace. In fact, if it did, then when I greeted you in this program, I would not have said Salam Alaikum, I would have said Islam Alaikum. Oops. I don't know if we have time for me to digress just for a moment, but we have another text in here, and I just can't avoid this. Got to do it. Sorry. But when I got into Islam, they were trying to help me with the pronunciation. Texans have a hard time even with English. We don't speak English. We speak Tex-Mex. We drag out our words. Anybody that's got a little short name, we'll add something to it. Somebody named Robert, over here you call him Bob. We call him Bobby Joe. That's right. So when I got into Islam, trying to help me, the greeting, how you greet people. I could get the first part down, slam. But the second part, they kept telling me, you're saying it wrong. I said, alaikum. No. Ah! It's standing back in here. Ah! Ah! Alaikum. Finally got it down, but I couldn't resist putting the Texas handle with it. Assalamu alaikum, y'all. Alhamdulillah. I'll come back to the subject. When I said that it's bad to translate one word and not the other, I'm going to show you why. Because if you take the words that I just said from the Quran and said, this means God says the only religion He accepts is Islam, for the one who is not Muslim or the one who is not real sure about Islam, it makes it a little bit strange. And I've had them write to me, even Muslims write to me and say, how come a nice person over here, a good, God-fearing person, nice guy, Jewish, Christian, or whatever, spends his whole life doing for other people and sacrificing, just a kind person. But he doesn't know Arabic. I mean, he's not Muslim. So, how come he has to go to hell? Well, on the other hand, somebody over here speaks some Arabic, said they're a Muslim. Okay, so they say, my religion is Islam, but he acts bad, lies, cheats, steals, and does everything else. Just prays once in a while. But just because his religion is Islam, he gets to go to paradise. Is that fair? And of course we know that's not what Islam teaches. That isn't the teaching. But when you translate it in that way, it's what it sounds like to the people. So if we translate it a little more accurately, watch what happens. The word deen does not mean the word religion in the English language. It doesn't. I mean, I can prove it to you from the Quran, clearly. If it meant religion, then it would have to be used the same way throughout the Quran. Yes? Almost everybody in this room has memorized Surah Al-Kafirun, right? Qul ya ayyuhal kafirun, raise your hand. I'm doing that for our guests to realize how much we spend time with our book. In Arabic, imagine that. What's the last ayah in Surah Al-Kafirun? Lakum dinakum waliyadeen. Now who am I saying that to? A kafir. Can I say this Lakum dinakum waliyadeen? Can I say that to a mulhid? Somebody who has no religion? Sure. You can say it to anybody, right? So if it meant religion, and I said to you your religion, and to me my religion, how does that work? An atheist, mulhid, does not have a religion, true? So it's a wider meaning, isn't it? What the scholars of the Arabic language told me that know the English, they said it's better to use the word way. W-A-Y. This is going to be key to our presentation tonight, so hang on to that word real tight. W-A-Y. Because when we see what we have in the Quran and then compare it to some verses from the Bible, you may be amazed to find out what's really up with the only way to go. So we want to now translate the other word, which was Islam. Islam comes from the root salama, sin lam mim. It comes from that root. Many words come from this same root, but when you reach the level of Islam, it contains aslam, taslim, salam, and others. First, the meaning is to surrender. You know, like we talked about at the airport. Total surrender. It means also submission. To give in to something. You got to do it. You submit to the terms. Obey. You're going to do it. You will do it. Not just you said it, you're going to do it. And then sincerity or purity of heart, that you're going to do it without any reservation. Not just because somebody's watching you, but because you know that's the right thing to do. And then finally, you do it in peace. All of that is in the word Islam. So it's a verb, it's action, it's talking about what you do. It is not talking about the name of a person, place, or thing. Other religions carry that stigma, being man-made, and it's easy to knock them off because they contain the name of whatever it is that you're really into. Hinduism is named after Hindustan, the people. It's a place. It's a people. Judaism is named for only one member of the 12 of the tribe of Jacob. Makes you wonder, what about the rest of those guys, right? Judaism, Judah. Actually, it's Yahudah. In the Hebrew, Yahudah. We say Yahud. They say this word, the same word, even today, talking about themselves. But it also can be meaning guided from Hidayah. They say that they are chosen. We say they were chosen to receive guidance. Whether or not they accept it's another story. Christianity is named for Christ. Is Christ a word that Jesus used? I don't think so. It's Koine Greek, but it's not even real Koine Greek. It's corrupted Koine Greek. The real word was Christos. In fact, there was no word Christ for several hundred years after he was gone. And by the way, there was no word Jesus either. All of these Latin terms and English terms came later. Yeshua is how they would have pronounced it, or a form of that. Or Isa in Aramaic, which is what we call him. But to come back to this word Islam, we're looking here at a word which actually tells you what you're supposed to be doing. To who? Well, it's implied, God. Which God? Arabic has a word for God, just like English does. It's Ilah. That's the word for God. And in English, you don't have two words. There's no difference between a rock, a stick, a stone, a bone, or anything else that's worshipped than the one that's the only one entitled to worship, which is the real God. So you know what they have to do in English? They use a big G. How can you tell the difference when you're talking to somebody? My mom had it down, though. Whenever people were talking about these false gods, she said God. Those are gods. But whenever she meant the big one, she'd say God. I don't know how you spell that.